to another episode of Architectural Revolution. Today, I have a special guest with me in the name of Makafui Kuffo, and today we'll be discussing a bit of real estate, the markets, and then everything in between there. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
To get started, I would like you to first introduce yourself, give us a bit of background on who you are, and then where it all started for you.
Okay. So my name is Makafui Kuffo, and I'm the co-founder for Saasepedia. Spent most of my life my professional life in the real estate space, and started off with my degree in land economy. Went further to get my master's in the real estate. Afterwards, I've practiced in the areas of real estate market research, property evaluation, and land administration. So yeah.
All right, that's good. So speaking of Saasepedia, I want you to first give us what it is. What is Saasepedia? What do you guys do? And what is its purpose?
Okay. So Saasepedia is carved out of two words, an Akan word, asase, which means land, and then an English word, encyclopedia. So basically, Saasepedia is an organization that is focused on educating society about real estate. Started off somewhere 2018, trying to educate society through blog posts, social media posts, and then videos. So how did Saasepedia even start in the first place? So Saasepedia started off by a passion. So when I was doing my national service at the Lands Commission, I got to interact with a lot of clients. And in my interaction with clients, one thing was constant in most of my interactions. I found out that till people got to the position where they actually owned land, they had no idea about the processes that goes into doing due diligence or even perfecting your title. I realized that a lot of people purchase litigation lands only to find out later on when they are ready to perfect their title that those lands actually had encumbrances on them. So I found a need to create this channel where some of these basic knowledge about real estate, starting from purchasing land, doing due diligence and all of that. So I found a need to start something to educate society about real estate. So we started off with doing blog posts, doing videos, just to, educate people about basic things in the real estate space. Yeah. Over the years, Saasepedia has, evolved to become a research-driven organization. So we focus on market intelligence and advisory services. So in the past years, we've done research works like the Accra City Report that actually highlights trends in the various sectors of Accra's real estate market, from the commercial real estate to residential to industrial. And then we also have the Ghana Real Estate Market Report, which was released this year. Saasepedia has also been a contributor to the Center for Affordable Housing Finance's yearbook since the year 2023. We have conducted research works on Ghana's housing markets, housing finance and affordability for the Center for Affordable Housing in the years 2023 and then this year. So yes, that's just a brief about Saasepedia.
I mean, it's brief, but it looks like you guys have been handling a lot, honestly, from blog posts to videos. One, I want to know why take that bit of shift to research? Why become research driven as an organization from writing content on, blogs and then doing a bit of videos?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, one thing we realized that was when I went to Nigeria.
Yeah.
I realized that Nigeria is just an African country like us, and Nigeria has also been where like the transparency of the Nigerian real estate market had been very low. But since the year 2018, I realized that Nigeria's real estate market has taken a turn where their transparency keeps getting better every day. And if you look at, there's this report called the Global Transparency Index that is released every 2 years by JLL, an international real estate organization. And if you track Nigeria's transparency, you realize that it kept getting better over the years. And while Ghana has not really improved much. So I thought of it. I realized that Nigeria is just an African country like Ghana. So what's different? And I realized that if you want any information, talk of trends in rent, trends in vacancy in the Nigerian real estate market, it is just a click away. You can just a button away. You can just find it online. But in the Ghanaian real estate market, I realized that there was this gap in having information, just general information on trends in rents, trends in, vacancy rates, things that inform in decision making in the real estate space. But then I realized that we had that gap. So this is just my little way of contributing to the information gap. Yeah, by just having that report where people can actually have data on rents, data on vacancy rates, data on things that are going on in the various subsectors of the real estate market.
Yeah. I think it's quite important we have those little bits of information when it comes to even the market price, because sometimes people don't know if I want to rent a place in Abilimpe or something like that. How much will it go for? Everybody's asking online.
Yeah.
And if that bit of information is not there, I guess people would accept whatever price anybody throws at them and they'll be like, yeah, sure, let's go with it.
Exactly.
So when it comes to like the real estate sector, every day buildings are being put up. Buildings are, in every minute, there's a sword cutting somewhere, either by the government or by maybe a private individual trying to make some money about it. What do you think then about the industry? Where do you think it is going with all these things that are coming up, all the new things? Where do you think the real estate sector is going?
Okay, so if you track the real estate market in Ghana, you realize that, for most African countries as well, you realize that the residential sector is a dominant sector. However, the supply in the residential space has for a very long time not moved in tandem with the demand or what people are actually looking out for. You realize that we are in an area where our economy has not been stable. There's so much volatility in the market. Today, inflation is here, tomorrow is there. You realize that, household incomes are not stable. People do not have access to, the formal channels of financing real estate. So in an environment like this, affordability is a very critical issue. However, you realize that most of the developments that have been springing up over the years have been luxury developments. And that is mainly because a lot of research or feasibility studies do not go into the developments that come up. And that has, accounted for a lot of these, luxury developments that have ended up being empty or having very low take-up.
Yeah, I mean, if we are speaking of them being empty, I'm sure anybody can count the number of apartments,
Yeah.
like in cantonments or airport residential, East Legon, that are all empty. Even the houses.
Yeah.
People are building houses, selling them for about 1 million Ghana cedis or even dollars. And
Yeah.
it's just going crazy. With that, every day somebody puts up a building, puts up the price. Building prices are skyrocketing. Some are being sold in dollars. I mean, what do you think is going on? Is it even sustainable for us to price our buildings in dollars or even price the rental apartments in dollars?
Yeah, actually pricing our properties in dollars, what we do is that we create the demand. I'm just looking at the other side. We create the demand for the currency. And so, creating the demand for the currency, it goes a long way to weaken our local currency, which is the Ghana cedi. So it's not sustainable. However, from the side of the builders, they also find pricing in dollars as a means of hedging themselves from the high rate of volatility in our currency.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because maybe, and a lot of these investments are by foreigners. So imagine I invested this amount of dollars. I'm looking at returns in that currency, and pricing is a currency that is not very stable. It makes it very difficult for them to get their return. So that is what encourages most of them to do the pricing in dollars. But in a way, it goes a long way to affect our local currency, and the onus lies on the regulatory bodies to take it up, to actually ensure that things are being priced in cities, to ensure that that demand for the dollar is not further increased, to go a long way to affect our economy.
Yeah, but if the regulatory bodies are supposed to not make us price in dollars, I don't think that will happen, because recently, or maybe a few months back, we were told not to price in dollars, but still everybody's pricing in dollars. What can we do about that?
Yeah, the thing is, most of these bodies, they put out the rules there, but the measures to ensure, the enforcement measures are very weak. And when you create a law or you bring out a regulation with no consideration for enforcement measures, these are some of the outcomes of it. I think some years back we said rent advance. 6 months rent advance is enough.
Yeah.
But how many times do you see landlords taking 2 years rent advance? It is because the systems to ensure that the laws are being enforced are not there. And a lot of work must go into that.
Yeah, that's true. So things are going up, houses are still being built. Let's divert a bit to lands, right? We need lands to build. People are buying lands. Do you think there are any, and I'm sure this will benefit a lot of people,
Yeah.
do you think there are any tax breaks or fees that people can try and avoid, or that would benefit them when it comes to them purchasing land anywhere in the country? Is there something that can help them, so that in case an individual wants to build something on their own and make some extra cash?
In the purchase of land?
Yes, in the purchase of lands or even houses.
As an investment?
It could be an investment, or it could be something that personally they just want to have, because people always want to buy land because they see it as an asset.
Okay, so what I know is that depending on the nature of development you want to do, for example, industrial development, Ghana has been, a lot of governments have come in trying to ensure that our country is industrialized. Okay, so there's this Free Zones Act, and in the Free Zones Act, when people acquire lands within free zone enclaves for industrialization, they get some incentives for going into industrial developments, because some of these developments go a long way to, it gets our economy better, through industrialization. So depending on the purpose for acquisition of the land, you tend to get some incentives. Unfortunately, though the Free Zones Act, came to encourage Ghanaians to go into industrialization, to build industries so that Ghana can actually process our own raw materials, so that we stop all these imports of commodities. It ends up that, look at the Free Zone, and a lot of the investors are not Ghanaians. A lot of them are Lebanese and people of other nationalities. So though it is a good it is a good incentive for Ghanaians to go into industrialization, a lot of times it turns out that foreigners benefit from it more than Ghanaians themselves.
Yeah, well, I can understand that most of them would try and find a way to save money, and that's actually smart investment policies. But then, apart from the industrial sector, isn't there anything within the residential sector that people can
not
take
that I
advantage?
know.
So then that means everybody who is building houses for rent is just, they don't get anything.
Not that I know of for residential developments, no. But I know for industrial that they have some incentives, especially when they do the acquisition within the areas earmarked as free zone enclaves.
Yeah, that's sad. Honestly, it would be nice to have tax breaks there, because there are a lot of buildings and houses coming up. Who wouldn't enjoy from that?
Yeah, okay. I also know that government has recently started doing public-private partnerships with local developers.
Okay.
So local developers who agree to do affordable housing, then they have what government does is that government has acquired some lands. For example, in the Pokwasi area, government acquired a huge tract of land and went into a PPP agreement with some local developments to do affordable housing. So the thing with government giving incentives is that the whole idea behind the incentive is to benefit the people of the country and also to get our economy better. So yeah, in areas where the incentive will go a long way to be of an advantage to we the citizens or to our economy, I think government tries to make such incentives available. So one is the free zones, and then now this affordable housing. I think somewhere last year they commissioned one. They said "My Home, My Peace."
Really?
Yes, in the Pokwasi area. Yeah. So they acquired very huge tracts of land, about 4,000, a very huge tract. I'm not sure of how big the land is, but it's a very huge tract of land where they acquired the land just to encourage people to do affordable housing, because over the years government has tried to do mass production of affordable housing, which turns out that these houses are not affordable.
No,
yes, they are not affordable. So these days government has moved more to the position of being an enabler. So they are creating an enabling environment for private developers and even individuals to go more into affordable housing.
Yeah, but so I mean, with this partnership, surely will benefit the citizens. I really hope I knew how exactly the private developers would benefit, because I don't think any developer would go into partnership with government.
Yeah. So the benefits for them is the lands. The government provided the lands for them.
Okay, that will definitely reduce cost.
The land, due diligence, having to do due diligence, all those things that pertain to acquiring a land, that headache is off. So all they have to do is to do the development.
Just design, build, and then sell.
So in a way, encouraging people to do affordable housing development.
I guess that's one good benefit. I'm sure a lot of developers would enter into it. So I wanted to now talk about the real estate market report that you've written. I thought I thought it was well written. I thought it was insightful, and I just want you to touch a bit on it. Give us what exactly you guys wrote on it, and how exactly it can benefit people, especially those who are in the real estate market for one, and those who also want to venture into it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so Ghana real estate market report actually touches on the various sectors of the real estate market. It actually focuses on areas like Takrady, Accra, Kumasi, which are like the three major real estate markets or three major cities in Ghana. So we talked briefly about the economy of Ghana. As you know, we are all aware the economy and the real estate markets go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, we talked about the economy, trends in inflation, trends in consumer prices, trends in exchange rates, and then GDP growth, because all of these go a long way to influence real estate investment decision making. And we also talked about the investment markets, the movement in the fixed income market, movement in the Ghana Stock Exchange, and then we talked about other investments, money market classes like the treasury bills and then the other money market instruments. Then we moved to the real estate market itself. Started off with the residential sector, talked about issues influencing the residential real estate market, trends in vacancy, trends in pricing, trends in rents. So it actually talks about affordable housing as well. We spoke about the sustainability measures developers that are taking up this concept of sustainability in their development. We went on to talk about the commercial real estate market, the retail market, talked about how online retail has influenced our retail sector,
Yeah.
how the economy, the decline in purchasing power and all of that, how they have influenced consumer spending, and how it has gone a long way to influence the retail sector of the real estate market. We looked at trends in vacancy in some of the grade A retail properties. We looked at trends in rent. We looked at other grades of properties, and then trending issues in the retail space. Then we moved on to talk about the industrial real estate market. We talked about how things like the AFTA, one district, one factory, the free zones agreement, how they still influence the industrial real estate sector. We also looked at the land market. We talked about the issues that are going on in the land market, how recently Lands Commission partnered with the property data bank to in the area of digitization of land records and other things. How does it influence land tenure security? How does it influence decisions pertaining to the purchase of land? How do even international investors see that, regarding land tenure security? Then we looked at the hospitality sector. We looked at the spread of quick service restaurants, QSR, such as Pizza Man, Chicken Man, how they have grown quickly. How, it looks like almost at every spot you see Pizza Man, Chicken Man. And where are they doing their business? Real estate. So we looked at that. We talked about how the Airbnb market has also grown. The Airbnb market over the years has grown. In fact, research shows that Ghana's Airbnb market is about the 8th fastest growing Airbnb market in the world. So it tells you how the hospitality market has actually developed, or how the hospitality market has actually grown. We talked about how things like the 13th All African Games being hosted in Ghana, how did it influence demand for hotels, guest houses, short-let apartments. We talked about things like December in Ghana. How does it influence business in some of our restaurants and our hotels and short-let apartments? So, in fact, the Ghana real estate market report is an embodiment of a lot of things that have gone on in the various subsectors of the real estate market. It is very ideal for, as a preliminary source or a preliminary go-to. Definitely, if you want to do a development, you need a feasibility study that will be tailored to your situation or what you need. But the Ghana Real Estate Market Report serves as that, preliminary go-to if you want to just have a good idea of how Ghana's real estate market has transitioned over the years, trends in the real estate. We're not just focused on giving what is happening now, but the reports actually give trends that dates back to 10 years. And typically that's what the reports do. We give trends on 10 years back. If you look at the graphs, we give graphical representation of data through graphs and other things to let people appreciate trends in our economy, trends in the investment market, trends in the various subsectors of the real estate market. I believe that if you are able to study the trends over the years, it's gives you a very solid base to make decisions. But like I said, it is for preliminary understanding of the real estate market. Definitely, if you are ready to do a development, you still need to do more in terms of going on to have probably a feasibility study that is tailored to your needs, and which is something we do. And you definitely need to have that to be tailored to your needs. But this gives general information on the various sectors of Ghana's real estate market. So if you are looking for a place to find very good data, reliable data, just for preliminary, to get a preliminary understanding of our real estate market in Ghana, the Ghana Real Estate Market Report is the go-to source.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's good. But as you said, it's basically like a preliminary report on when it comes to if you want to do a development.
Exactly.
And then the best thing would be to be able to go in depth would be to do a feasibility study.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if many people know what a feasibility study is and how exactly you go about it, but you said you handle it.
Yeah.
And so if they need to come to you, what exactly would they get out of a feasibility study? What is it? And what is the benefit? Because as another report, I'm sure somebody can argue out the case that they might not need it for their development.
So feasibility study, what we have in the market report is actually general information on Ghana's real estate market. We don't know your situation. We don't know where you are eyeing to do your development, the location, wherever you are going to acquire that land. We don't know the nature of the interest you are in acquiring in the land. Is it a JV? Are you doing an all equity investment and all of that? So what feasibility studies does is to assess your peculiar situation as an individual or a corporate institution, your individual circumstance, and then we look at trends in the market that are tailored to people's peculiar needs in an investment. Okay, so someone can set out and say, okay, I like to do investments in purpose-built student housing, and these are my projections, this is how much I want to get from the investment and all of that. You need a feasibility study that will be tailored at your demand, that will be tailored to your demands, so that the report actually serves you in, like, as an institution or as an individual. Yeah. So feasibility studies, you can also consider where you are looking at your specific the specific location you are targeting can also comes in when we are looking at the feasibility study, the nature of the interest you are looking at. Are you going into a JV?
Okay, so if maybe let's try like a bit of an example.
Okay.
If I am going to do a new development, maybe let's pick a location like Oyarifa.
Okay.
Right? It's a growing community.
Exactly.
It's mostly full of single family houses and things. Exactly. So I want to do a 3-story multi-family house that's apartments, maybe 6 apartments in total.
Okay.
With this example, how would the feasibility study be done, and how would I benefit from it? Okay,
good question. So if you are looking at doing a feasibility study in such an area, we'll be looking at typically trends in rent in Oyarifa. We also look at the demand base in Oyarifa in particular, things that influence demand. So it's a whole research where we assess the demand base. What the people of Oyarifa are looking at, which kinds of investments have high occupancy rates. So we look at vacancy rates of maybe the different types of residential developments in the area. Maybe you're looking at a multifamily. Are multifamily units actually doing well in Oyarifa? If multifamily units are not doing well in Oyarifa, what is the reason? So we go a bit further. Maybe the design components have not really been tailored to suit the demand of the people or what the people are looking at. Or maybe the people in Oyarifa, so we look at the demographics. Okay. So maybe the people in Oyarifa are mostly young professionals or students. They may not be looking for an apartment more than two bedrooms. Yeah. You get, so we look at the people, the demographics of the area, what's the age group, what's the age category, what's the dominant age group in the area, what's even the dominant gender in the area. You'll be surprised that all of these go a long way to influence investor decisions in the area. So a lot of things go into feasibility studies, and it is always tailored to suit the individuals' needs.
Okay, I think that's good. I just want to ask on one thing on the feasibility study. This is basically about price. Nobody would know. I think personally, if I was to need that, what do you think would be like the range people would go for? Because architects also do feasibility studies for people, but I think yours as well will really go in depth, and it will be really beneficial for any developer as well to be able to do it. So if they were to come to you, what exactly are they looking at? What's the range? Just something
range like pricing.
Yeah, pricing. I mean, you can decide not to say it, but I think it would.
For the pricing, actually, it is based on what you want from the feasibility study, or what you want from the feasibility study. That's what informs the pricing for a feasibility study.
Okay, so it's more about the in-depth nature about it.
Exactly.
Okay, so then let's go with my example that we used. Oyarifa, multifamily, 3 stories, 6 apartments. I'm looking for maybe not too in-depth, just more information than what would be in the market reports. What do you think I'll be looking at then?
Very interesting question, but it's still, there's still a lot. There's still a lot to find out. Trust me, if you want to do a feasibility study, actually, we have two dimensions. Yeah. Some people when some people are doing feasibility studies, they have land looking for opportunity. Do you understand? So they are not sure of what they want to do, but they have the land. And then we have opportunities looking for land. So, there are people who have some ideas in mind, but they want to know the exact spot, which areas will do well for them. So a lot of things go into it. Sometimes some clients actually come and they say they want to do feasibility studies, but at the end of the day, you realize that what they actually needed was a highest and best use study.
A what?
A highest and best use study.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, so a highest and best use study actually is more like having an obsolete building or a land, and you want to be sure of the highest and best use of that land. Some people already have developments on a particular land. Maybe that land may not be fetching that much. But if you're able to do a highest and best use study, it actually informs you on what to do to optimize maximize returns from the land. So typically for a highest and best use study, we are looking at legal possibility, financial feasibility, and there are actually 4 dimensions, 2 others here, and we look at that for a highest and best use study. So trust me, people come and looking at their situation, it's always turns out to be something else. So feasibility studies are always tailored to the client, and every client has a particular expectation, or even based on if it's an institution or an organization, based on the organization's direction of investment, the feasibility study can take a different turn.
Okay, so I think that makes sense, because with the different dimensions, anything can be possible, and everybody has their different needs. You mentioned something on the Lands Commission taking an initiative with the digitalization of records.
Yeah.
For me personally, I know sometime we did a national ID, and then people's, with the re-registration of SIM cards, people's information was supposedly had. I don't think that one will be safe if we're to do land records, because if we do the records, doesn't mean that everybody can access anybody's information on which land they own or which organization they own.
Just anyone.
Yes, just anyone.
No. You see, what they are doing is to digitize the records, but in the same time, they are considering privacy concerns. So it's not, well, I can't really talk much to that, but I'm sure they've put in safety and then privacy measures, because when it comes to land investments, people are very big on privacy. A lot of times you've had to deal with clients who tell you, look, don't tell this person about this, and you need to respect that. So when it comes to making information available, even though it is very important that we make information available, privacy concerns are also very key.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think we are near the end, and there's just one last thing I want to ask you. If you are doing a lot of things when it comes to research, when it comes to the real estate markets, you are also the co-founder of Saasepedia. I mean, there's a lot of things you are doing, but I just want to know if there's anything that you are looking or you're seeking to revolutionize or change within the markets, just to make it better for the individual or even for that corporation who is looking to be better than what is already there.
For me, if there's anything I've ever been passionate about, is transparency. Transparency of our real estate market. And I looking at a Ghana where, through the EU, we can leverage technology and other things to, increase the transparency of our real estate market. So that has been one of my biggest passions, and anything I can explore to make that possible, I'm dedicated to doing that.
Okay. I think that's a great cause, and hopefully, I hope to see that happen, because I think, as you said, if Nigeria's transparency index is increasing, if Ghana's own increases as well, it would really help to understand what's going on.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's it. I want to say thank you for first coming on the
Welcome.
podcast and for giving us a lot of insights into the real estate market. I hope we can do this again and
Sure.
maybe speak on many other things as well. Maybe we go to the architecture side and then we can touch on it as well.
Exactly.
So thank you again for coming.
And thank you for also having me.
It was
Thank
my
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.